Enjoy this man's funny. Enjoy this man's creativity. Enjoy this man's work. Spinal Tap, Best in Show. Want to get him in the conversation we were having, so I'm just going to read to Christopher Guest what happened with Obama and Bob Dylan, because we like to include our guests on the conversations that we're having. Thank you for joining us, Christopher. Let me read this to you here. This is Obama on meeting Bob Dylan. Quote, here's what I love about Dylan. He was exactly as you'd expect he would be. He wouldn't come to the rehearsal. Usually all these guys are practicing before the set in the evening. He didn't want to take a picture with me. Usually all the talent is dying to take a picture with me and Michelle before the show, but he didn't show up to that. He came in and played The Times They Are Changing, a beautiful rendition. The guy is so steeped in this stuff that he can just come up with some new arrangement and the song sounds completely different. Finishes the song, steps off the stage. I'm sitting right in the front row, comes up, shakes my hand, sort of tips his head, gives me just a little grin, and then leaves. And that was it. Then he left. That was our only interaction with him. And I thought, that's how you want Bob Dylan, right? You don't want him to be all cheesing and grinning with you. You want him to be a little skeptical about the whole enterprise. So that was a real treat. My co-host here thinks that Bob Dylan, big time, the president of the United States. What's your opinion on this?
Wow. So that was all real, huh?
Yeah.
Wow. Well, I think I can imagine that's what happened, and I think it's okay.
Big time, the president?
I don't look at it that way. I think, to expect anything else would have been ridiculous, knowing his reputation, and then how about not inviting him or something? I don't know.
Yeah, what is the list of people, though, that you think can get away with that, Christopher? And we'll talk about what you got going on in a second, but I'm just curious, what's the list? Because I want to talk about Mascots, which is now on Netflix. But what's the list of people in American pop culture who can do that and you'd be okay with it?
That are alive?
That's a good question.
I mean, there's certain dead people that could have gotten away with that. Albert Einstein, because he didn't understand English that well. That would have been an obvious one, right? Where he just would have basically shrugged and said, I don't know what?
Yes.
He could have walked out.
Right.
Big hair. I don't know. I think it's good to show some kind of respect, but Dylan has been known to not be comfortable with anything like that. So, again, it doesn't surprise me. I don't think this is an earth-shaking thing.
No, I just think it's cool.
I know, but he says don't invite him, and I would say if you're Bob Dylan and you're not comfortable with that, don't show up. Don't accept the invitation.
Yeah. I don't know. I would have expected it, and let's move on.
Okay. You know? Wow, you don't like the line of questioning. You want to talk about Mascots.
No. I'm happy to talk about, in fact, anything else.
Okay.
I just think that particular thing is, I'm not sure it's worthy of...
Yeah, you don't find it as interesting as I do. Okay. Christopher Guest, controlling the show content. Fair enough. Spinal Tap was exceptional. Were you surprised at all that one of the Gallagher brothers from Oasis recently was quoted as saying that he thought it was real, that he thought that Spinal Tap was an actual band?
Well, the important thing is which Gallagher brother.
That's a good question.
Do you have that information?
I don't.
And how's it feel?
I don't have that. I don't know whether
they're two brothers. They theoretically have different first names, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. But you don't know which one it was.
No, I don't. Do you?
No. No, I never heard this story. It's not a good sign, I guess, if you thought it was real. But a few people did when it first came out. A movie hadn't been done like that, in that style. So, but it continues today. I mean, people go, I have a friend who thought Ben-Hur was real. So what are you going to say about that?
Do you think that this is always a difficult question to ask creators, but do you view that as the work that is your favorite, or is it the one that most people cite as their favorite, if you're not willing to answer that question?
Oh, I mean, I've worked for a long time, and people like different things, and that's fine. People say they like Best in Show, or they like Waiting for Guffman, and that's fine. Whatever. I can't control that, so that's cool.
How about you, though? Which one do you feel?
Oh, I couldn't say. That's a weird choice. That's a strange choice. I don't know. I wouldn't even know what to say.
Okay.
Clearly.
Okay. Christopher, I know what to say. How about we end this? Okay, good? We're good? We should probably end this, right? Because it doesn't seem like he wants to do it.
No,
so,
Which? Keep going.
I mean, are you sure? You want to do this or not?
Well, which are we doing?
This interview.
Oh, I love the interview.
Okay.
I mean, I can make stuff up, but I don't know what to say to a question that is about which of my things I like. I could make it up, but it's hard to pick. I've done a few things, and it's hard to pick one that I like the best. I'd like to go back to the Dylan thing. I think I personally would have been offended.
Christopher, thank you for your time. Thank you for your time. We appreciate it. Thank you. Let's wrap this up. All right. Good talking to you. Right. You can see his new movie, Mascots, now on Netflix. Go ahead. What do I have to do here? What do I have to do next?
Nothing.
Do I have a...
No, we don't have a spot.
All right, just go to commercial. We'll figure this out after we come back.
Keep listening to the Dan LeBatard Show on ESPN Radio.
Catch me and Mike Golick Jr. every Sunday for Weekend Observations from 7 to 9 Eastern. That's a.m. on ESPN Radio and the ESPN app. Guest on the Dan LeBatard Show appear via the Shell Pennzoil Performance Line.
Put this on the poll, Guillermo, at LeBatard Show. Whose fault was that? Me or Christopher Guest's? That was delightfully awkward.
Oh, man.
And you guys have spent the break in here telling me that was Christopher Guest's fault, but I'm not actually sure that is so.
I'm 100% sure that it's his fault. The tone, all of it. I mean, just from the get-go, it sounded like he didn't want to be here, didn't want to do it, was telling you which questions were good, which were bad, which topics were interesting, which weren't. Get out of here, man.
But maybe they
Get
were.
out of here.
But maybe they were bad. Maybe they were bad. It was delightfully awkward. And it was uncomfortably awkward.
All my work is so good. I can't just choose one because all my work, I've done so many things. I just can't choose one. I mean, yeah, just give us an answer, all right?
But it was a bad question. But at that point, I was actually rattled. That hasn't happened to me very often during interviews, but you saw the way that I ended the interview where I'm just like, okay, go to commercial. What am I supposed to do here? At the end of that, I was rattled because I don't want to be discourteous to anybody other than you. Mm-hmm. I don't want to be rude to the guest.
Well, he was rude to you.
Was he, though?
Yes.
I don't know. I'm super unclear as to whether he was rude or dry.
He's very dry. I get his sense of humor. I'm a big Christopher Guest fan, and that just was not working out. He was very surprised at the end when I was talking to him. He thought it was going great, legitimately. So maybe we weren't on the same level.
No, but that's why I think I might have messed that up. I didn't even know that part. Now I feel guilt. I didn't even know that part.
Yeah, but that was a difficult interview, man. We weren't getting anything.
Well, Mike, are you you like him and you talk to him afterwards? Are you who's to blame here?
I like him, but he obviously he's a bad read of the situation. We were struggling there. I don't think he was necessarily affable. It's just who he is.
But he's dry. And I may have misinterpreted what he said when Let's Move On off the Bob Dylan conversation, because I didn't feel like he wanted to have it from the starting point. Right. And I feel like he said, well, that's not – he was basically telling me that's not interesting. And so when he said let's move on –
we moved on to him, and then he didn't give us much there. And then he said he wanted to go back to the Dylan thing. Like I said, I'm a big Christopher Guest fan. I don't think he did the wrong thing there. We had to bail.
Okay, but at the end of that, he said that he thought it was going well. And so I don't like...
It appears he was dead serious when he said that. I imagine... The whole Bristol car wash for Christopher Guest seems a little bizarre to me.
Well, here's the thing. Here's one of the things that we might be underestimating here. This is Christopher Guest. This is a guy who has done Spinal Tap, Best in Show. He's probably a pretty important person. And we just put him in a closet, what is literally a closet. I don't think people understand how this Bristol car wash thing works. But when I say it's literally a closet, I'm pretty sure that when they're not filming in there, they're simply hanging clothes in there. It is a very small space. It's not glamorous at all. If this guy is used to Hollywood, right, this is the opposite of Hollywood. You're just shuffling down an alleyway, and you make a right turn, and you're in a closet, and next thing you know, you're on television. It is not glamorous.
Was he messing with us? Because I feel like he's going to go on His and Hers and just be throwing confetti. I'm not sure what this was.
But that's
I was
the
a little
thing.
thrown.
I want to celebrate that, though. I don't want to sit here and call him names, but I do want to know. am beginning to feel like that was my fault, that I made that extra awkward by being awkward, and I didn't just roll with a dry interview subject.
Yeah. Well, it's always awkward when you bail on an interview. But
he always does the clap right before he bails. Whenever he bails, there's the clap. You do the clap.
I know
it. I know we're in trouble.
Done here.
When I hear the clap, we're in trouble.
Well, how many times have I done that?
I mean, maybe 4 or 5 times, but there's always a clap before you do it.
Anytime you've ever bailed on an interview.
Yes.
I got to tell?
Yes. It's a clap. Yes.
Yep.
You go like this.
Okay. We're done. And then when it doesn't go well, your body language, you put your arms directly over your head and you lean back directly over your head.
Wow, so I have actual tells. So wait a minute, we have done so many bad interviews around here, or interviews that are that uncomfortable, that I have a choreographed dance routine as to how it is that I react after them.
Literally brush your hands. You wash your hands of the situation.
Yes.
Okay.
Wow, that is great.
I can't wait for you to interview him on HQ later today.
I didn't even realize that I was doing that. That's amazing. So I have a tell. You guys know. When else has that made an appearance?
I'm telling you, it's every time we bail on.
I know.
I can probably I got to find some audio because I'm sure we can pick up your hands clapping together
every time. What's the last time he bailed on an interview? Do we remember? It was fairly recent. Like it's probably been 5 times, and you'll hear the clap every time.
Kyle
Busch. There's a clap. No, there's a definite clap. I remember it. Maybe 2. Might have been the rare double clap. He was that upset with the interview. Oh man. People are saying it's not your fault, though, for what it's worth.
I mean, it's not worth very much. I feel guilt. I'm in a fragile, frail place right now.
I have audio of the awkward finish to the Kyle Busch interview.
All right, let's go. This is Kyle Busch. That one wasn't on me. Kyle Busch did not want to talk, so let's hear that. But it's a lot with Harvick. It's right. It's not 1 or 2 with Harvick. It's a lot with Harvick. No.
I don't know.
All right, Kyle, good talking to you. We're done here. Thanks, buddy. Appreciate your time.
Wow.
Thank you, sir. 3 claps.
I was wrong. It was 3.
3 claps. Wow. And so I physically, Roy,
yes,
so you're saying yourself. I physically wiped my hands of the interview. I am Pontius Pilate. Didn't he famously wipe his hands?
Yeah. You dip them into a bowl like this. We should get you a bowl. A pilot bowl that you can just dip your hands into.
So hold on a second. He actually thought that was going well, and he doesn't understand why I ended it? Like, I have rarely had that kind of a flagrant miscommunication with somebody. I got to go retrace my steps there. I love sinking into that awkwardness, though. I just didn't want to keep begging him for answers when I felt like he didn't want to be there. I felt like I was inconveniencing him.
Right. How could there be such a wide gap in how we felt about it and how he felt about it? Because I felt what you were feeling, you know?
I'm beginning to think he was messing with us because we have a comedian friend that's heard stories of people going into an audition with Christopher Guest, and he pretends to have a lazy eye or that he can't use a limb. I think he was getting off on this.
He just thought it was funny. Let's go back to our comfort zone of making fun of Stugatz.
All right, we might have another clap. It'll take us a second to look up. But Jimmy Butler, who you dismissed, I believe there was a double clap before that.
All right, we will see if we can find the Jimmy Butler clap. But before we get to all of that,
make fun of me.
I do love that Christopher Guest basically told me that the thing that I found interesting wasn't interesting, which is that snapshot moment between Obama and Bob Dylan, where Bob Dylan didn't exactly big-time the president because he did do him the courtesy of respecting him, but that Obama realized in the moment, he said this sentence, you want him to be a little skeptical about the whole enterprise. It's how you want your exchange with Bob Dylan to go. And I want to get back to the idea of who could do that to the president, Stugatz. Mm-hmm. That you'd be okay with it, that you would say, yes, I understand that, because it has to be somebody that's anti-establishment. That's the thing, Stugatz. It can't be just someone important and famous. It has to be someone who is counter, who's a revolutionary.
Sure. I mean, with Dylan, though, he was invited to do something, to perform for the president. And if you're going to accept that invitation, you have to accept everything that comes with that invitation, in my opinion. Meaning you perform for him and you spend some time with him, and there's a reason you're there because he likes you.
I mean, I know, but Bob Dylan's not a dancing puppet. Like you can't be an anarchist and take the anarchy on your terms.
Hey, it's Papi. You are listening to the Dan LeBatard Show on ESPN Radio.